Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Lorelei Shamayo. We're Metaphysical Empowerment and Wellness Events. We host events throughout the Northwest. We're currently in Seattle, Portland, Salem, Eugene, and also online. We interview our practitioners, our readers and healers, and our vendors so you get a chance to know who we are before you meet us at an event. I'm here today interviewing Avital Miller. Avital, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be doing this with you and to be connecting with your community as well.
Great. So please share with us, what is it that you do? What do you share at our events?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a range of what I'm going to be sharing at the events each time because I have so much that I want to be sharing with everyone. And I'm motivated by this because of my own story of healing beyond what was expected. I was this 27-year-old yoga and fitness teacher trainer and teaching 25 to 30 classes all over town and a fitness director. And I started having health issues, diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, giving medicine, and then just sent out the door saying that's it for life. And I figured, kind of like an arranged marriage, if I was going to be stuck with that for life, I better learn about it. But upon learning about it, I even went all the way to India and studied one-on-one with an Ayurvedic doctor. So that's an ancient Indian medical science. But with the work that I did, I started healing. The doctor started taking me off of the medication. And that really motivated me to say, well, if this could happen for me, what could happen for other people? And to share these healing techniques around the world. And then I was inspired by meeting people who had even more extreme stories, who were told they were going to die in a few months or a few hours, and they turned that around. And that's actually where I put together my book, Healing Happens, Stories of Healing Against All Odds. So that has my story, but it also has interviews with 17 other health and healing experts who have some of these miracle healing stories of turning around terminal diagnoses and how they repeat that for their clients. So I continue to bring this wealth of information together so that other people can have the empowerment without needing to go to the store, without needing to take a lot of time to very quickly turn around your energy level, your joy level, your health level and status. And energy is a big one that I talk about a lot because before these health issues, I was called an Energizer bunny, and then I had issues with fatigue. Which I never took naps before. So this was like embarrassing for me. You know, I was on this family trip and taking naps, and I was so glad nobody made fun of me. But fatigue is your body weighing like a ton of bricks. It's being out and mind all sloppy and everything for quite some time. So it was huge to be able to turn that around and again be called an Energizer bunny. Mm-hmm. But in that process of not having energy, it's like, well, what was going on before where I was the Energizer bunny, and what's going on in those moments where I don't have energy? So studying energy has been a huge discipline of mine. And I talk about how to feel more energetic, but I've also studied energy healing. So I can work with people on the energetic layers. That was huge for me. One of the other big things that I did in my life was live in a yoga community for almost 7 years. So that's the root of where a lot of the techniques that I'm sharing are coming from. Mm-hmm. Because there's tons. You may not realize, I mean, you might just think go do a physical yoga practice and sit and do a meditation, but there's tons of healing techniques that come from that whole lineage and that whole discipline that we can do for ourselves. And during that time, I took all of the courses and all of the trainings. And so I'd already started doing spiritual counseling as part of living at the community. And I was helping with the yoga teacher training there. And so I was getting experience in kind of working with people and doing the counseling. A friend of mine, this is kind of a fun story of how I started doing the intuitive readings, if you want me to share that.
Sure, Laura. Go ahead.
Because a friend of mine would always come over with her tarot cards and she'd do a reading for me. So I was getting familiar with that. And then I was also the sales and marketing director of the book publishing company. So we were clearing out our warehouse and there were all these like tarot decks and there were angel cards. And so I took on the angel cards. And that happened to be right before I was going into seclusion. And that also was a time that I intuitively knew that my mother was going to pass away. She had cancer for a number of years. Nobody told me anything specific about her health, but I just had some intuitive hit. So when I was in seclusion, I was processing that, and I had just visited her before that. So I got my time with her, but I started reading the cards, and every time I kept getting the card, like, your loved ones in heaven, like, are doing fine, and they hope that you're well. And I went, for the funeral and was with the family, and it was always my mother's wish to bring the family together more. Somehow with her connecting us, we never took the effort ourselves. But it's part of the Jewish practice, the tradition that I come from, to spend that time together when you're in mourning. And after a couple of days, when we start calming down in the situation and relaxing, I pull out my cards. And I asked my most open-minded family member if I could do a reading for her. And I did say I'd never done them before. But everyone gathered around. I did a reading for her. She really liked it. So then the next family member asked, and the next, and the next, and the next. And without getting into all the stories, you can read my blog post on this, but there are all these psychic things that came out. But they didn't hear that I said I'd never done that before. They thought I'd been doing it forever. But so it was great to just see that gift come out and apply the spiritual counseling into that. But then also to see the family come together and to see that as a source of connection. And I continued to do the readings for friends and family until they said, you need to start getting paid for doing this. And that's when that became one of my career avenues. Mm-hmm. And what I've also done over the last few years is once a month, I go to a personal or business development training program. And I've gotten some of their certifications as well for mentoring and coaching. And what I realized, instead of having people come in and say, what's my future? I say, what do you want your future to be? And this is how we can accomplish it. So that's where the coaching skills start to come in as well, and not just the intuitive skills. So we can really create the life that people want. The future is always subject to change. So how are we going to manipulate and mold life to be what we want?
So I think I'm holding maybe five different areas right now. There's education and teaching practices, mm-hmm. and then energy healing and readings and coaching. Mm-hmm. Those are the different pieces of what you do. And I imagine it's an intuitive blend that you do with people as they come work with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do people, I imagine the healing work, just the journey that you've been through, I imagine that draws a lot of people. And then also they may come with specific questions, the different techniques that you use, or?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of funny, because I'll start something, I'll be like, okay, we're going to do group healing breakthrough consultations. And they'll come in, and some people will ask about healing their physical body. And then other people will ask about relationships. They'll ask about, what's my purpose in life? Like, how do I excel in my business? Like, how do I get to a better financial state? So I've started to become known as somebody who connects the dots for people mm-hmm. in all different areas of life. And I love seeing the results that people are getting in all of these different areas. And because I've now had this plethora to choose from, it's kind of like when I lead the meditation group that I have, I take the basis of techniques from what I learned from my yoga guru and from that lineage. But then I'm looking at, well, what are people's challenges right now? I base a short talk and the practice around that challenge. And so sometimes that pulls in some of the techniques from the personal development programs as well, not just the meditative techniques. And that was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to move out of even the community, because I could only use their techniques. And I'm like, but there's so much more that I can offer people. And just intuitively knowing in the moment, like, oh, this person could use this person could use that. So to have the freedom to just be in the divine flow as I'm working with people.
That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to learn more about you and what you offer online, where do they go?
Okay. So one of the easiest things you can do for if you want to dive specifically into the healing practices that I share into my book, which won 4 awards. I always like to share that, because I used to be afraid to write a book. I was held back in school for writing. So it's amazing what any one of us can accomplish. So you want to go to healinghappensforyou.com. Mm-hmm. For you is FORYOU.com. And you can pretty much link to everything from there, but you can also go to my website, avitalmiller.com. Avital is spelt like Avital. It's just not pronounced that way. So avitalmiller.com. And then from there, it's easy to see. If you go into the members section, you can get into the meditation group through that. I live stream all the meditations, and then there's over 50 recordings of all of these different life challenge topics that we've been doing. So that's a huge benefit that you all can take advantage of from wherever you are in the world.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting.
Yeah, thank you.
And for all of you listening and watching, you can find out more about us and find out where our events are near you at MetaphysicalEmpowermentEvents.com. See you soon. Thanks so much, Avital.
Thank you.